Good morning, and welcome to day 17 of my 30-day November morning yoga challenge. Before we get into it, if you could click that like and subscribe button below, it would really help me to expand my reach, grow my channel, and help me find folks who need to find me and would enjoy my content. So let's get into it. Today's theme is release, and we're doing a yin yoga practice, so I thought that was the perfect theme for today. And something that I want to bring up, and I bring it up in the yoga practice as well, is that yin is not necessarily safe for everybody. So you need to really know your body and understand your body. If your body naturally behaves in a way where the muscles don't retract, or you just naturally have a lot of elasticity in your ligaments, yin might not be right for you. So I highly encourage you to do this yoga practice as a restorative if you choose to do it. And the difference is that yin is typically held for about 5 to 7 minutes when you're more advanced. When you're a beginner, 2.5 to 3 minutes is great. And your goal is to release the muscles. You are releasing the fascia that holds the muscles together to create more flexibility, more length, and to help you develop into the poses more easily. It is also really great for the central nervous system. But for those who have more flexibility, it might not be the best choice. So a better choice would be restorative, which also gives that, quiet relaxation. You can do each of the poses for about 5 minutes, all the way up to 20 minutes, because the goal there is to relax into the pose, to fully surrender to the pose as opposed to releasing the fascia. I wanted to make sure that that information was very clear because as a neurodivergent life coach and yoga instructor, my goal is to make sure you're doing yoga safely. And so it is my duty to let you know that yin might not be safe for you if you do have a lot of that extra flexibility in your joints and muscles and ligaments. So with the theme release, we are, yes, releasing our physical muscles and our physical bodies, but we're also releasing a lot of mental stuff. We are giving ourselves space to release the things that no longer serve us. So with aparigraha, that is non-possessiveness, that is non-attachment, and there is a lot to be said for taking a moment to decide if a practice is right for you. And sometimes there are things that we want that are maybe not the right choice for our bodies or for our self in that specific moment. And that's what aparigraha does. That's why breath is so important. When we are breathing and being conscious of our breath, that makes us conscious of awareness of other decisions too, or how we're reacting in a moment, or how we're communicating in a moment. So in releasing the tension in our muscles, we're also learning to release the tension in our lives, the things that might stress us out if they don't go necessarily a certain way for us, or we have a certain expectation of how an event may go. Aparigraha teaches us to live in the moment as opposed to living in the past or living in the future, remembering what has happened before and wondering if it's going to be the same as last time or expecting it to be better because the conditions, you may know that the conditions are better. So aparigraha teaches us to live in the moment, in the present. And when we're doing yin yoga, it's teaching us to live in the moment in our bodies, to release the fascia, to release the tension in our minds. Because it's also can be a much quieter practice like restorative. So let's talk about this from a perspective of social anxiety. I have social anxiety. So even though I am an extrovert, if you've ever played The Sims, when a sim who is an extrovert goes to a party, their social meter skyrockets. Like they're like, yeah, excited, and then they go all like bright green and then platinum because they had a great social experience. But if you're an introvert and you go to a party as a sim, you get depressed and your plumb bob turns like red, and then you're like and all sad, and it like drains the sim. And it's kind of like that in real life. But when you're an extrovert with social anxiety, there is an element that I know I am going to have a good time. I know it is going to like make me feel really good. But the process from saying, sure, yes, I'll go, to actually being there and present in the moment is torturous. And there are some days when I'm like lying sobbing on the floor because I am in so much distress about this engagement that I said yes to. Like, it can be really, really hard. It can be very devastating. And so aparigraha teaches us to live in the moment and separate ourselves from expectation. Like, I don't know if I'm going to have a good time or a bad time, but being able to say, I know that I'm going to go and I'm going to have a time because I've committed to going, that does help to alleviate the stress and anxiety that comes along with having to leave my comfort zone. And then on top of that, when there's that commitment that my kids are really excited about it, that makes me just a little bit braver. And then with us neurodiverse folks, there is that concept of special interest that we have. And when there's a couple of different sides here. So there's the ADHD side where we get super excited. Here, I'll use these pens as an example. So it's like, oh my gosh, a blue pen. I love blue pens. Blue pens are the only pen that I ever want to use. And then you end up finding a pink pen and you're like, oh my gosh, pink pens are awesome. And you forget about the blue pen and you never pick up the blue pen again. And then you're just like, yeah, pink pens. With autism, if you've got a blue pen and that is the only pen that you want to use, you can only use blue pens. And if your blue pen is gone and somebody's like, well, just use a pink pen, it's like, how dare you suggest such a thing? I can only use blue pens. It's not even optional. I need a blue pen. I cannot function without a blue pen. I could not possibly do my schoolwork without a blue pen. So you can see how in both of those instances, aparigraha, like releasing the expectations of non-attachment and not being possessive of something, or living in the moment, might be a little easier for the ADHD folks, but we also tend to accumulate a lot more items and things and ideas that we have a hard time navigating. Whereas with the autism side, we become very fixated on those single things and ideas. So I think that's where awareness comes in. Because if you have an awareness of a concept like aparigraha, where you can enjoy those things or have some acceptance that I enjoy blue pens right now, but I know that I might shift over to pink pens later. I think that is really important in accepting who we are and how our brains function. Same with autism. We can accept blue pens are my thing. If I, and I know I don't mean to trivialize any of this, I'm just trying to use it. I'm just trying to use it as an example on how our brains work. Because, you know, there are sometimes where we have a special interest and or a routine, and when that routine gets thrown out of whack, it throws us out of whack. And so being able to take a step back and practice, I can survive without a blue pen, or my blue pen, I'm used to using a blue pen or a pink pen. I like both of those. I was really into pink pens, but now I'm presented with a black pen. It's not colorful, it's not really me, but I can deal with that here in this present moment until I can get to my blue or pink pen. you know it's it gives us an opportunity to practice those things in the moment. And I think that's why yoga is really important, because I have had meltdowns. So story time. There are 6 people living in my house. I have my husband and my partner, and then my oldest daughter, who is an adult, and then I have my 16-year-old who is a vegetarian, and then I have my youngest, who is 11. So, and then myself. And we all have our different taste preferences. My daughter, who is vegetarian, is also on the autism spectrum and very neurodivergent. All of us really are. Like, all 3 of my kids are on the autism spectrum um, and have ADHD and depression and anxiety. It just runs in our family. And that was a side tangent. My husband, he will eat pretty much anything I put in front of him. He doesn't always like it, but he doesn't complain. My partner has a lot of food preferences. He is very meat centric and does not like things like onions and bell peppers and a whole lot of other things. So it's a challenge to make everyone happy. My youngest, she will tend to go to they're hit or miss. My oldest is very easy. They're pretty easy, but there's some other stuff going on. So sometimes food is not friendly. So feeding everyone, the point I'm trying to make here, feeding everyone in my house is exhausting. Enough said. And we've had plenty of conversations about this. And we will often just do, I do not have the spoon, so it is a fend for yourself night. See what's in the fridge. Everybody is able to cook in my house, so figure it out. Or we'll do alternating meal nights where everybody gets to cook what they want to cook and everybody eats and everybody's happy. So that's how we get through that. But, in reflecting on the aparigraha, I realize that I do have an attachment to preparing these ideal meals where everybody is happy. Like my food excitement is, I'm very food motivated. I just really enjoy flavor. I enjoy exploring new cuisines. And that's really hard when you have a group of people with their own preferences and are disinterested from uh, trying new foods or trying new things. And I think the point of that story is that we all have things that are easy that we can solve through non attachment, not being possessive of an idea, releasing our ego, and giving space to others' needs and preferences. And there are things that are going to be harder to let go of, and that's okay. We don't have to be perfect. The point here is good, better, best. We want to be improving ourselves. We want to be aware of our own idiosyncrasies and how we can improve that by improving the relationships that we have with others through letting go of our own ego. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Let me know in the comments below, what is something that you need to release in your life? I'd be really interested to know. So in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. The yoga practice will be linked in the description below. That coordinates with today's vlog. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you on the mat tomorrow.